outside the ministerial compound, if you like. And let's speak now to the Public Works and Infrastructure Minister, newly appointed in this position, Sihle Zikalala, who joins us now to tell us about his plans. But let's start with what you have just heard, Minister, and that is that ministers, ANC ministers, are living like rock stars. What part do you play in as far as the government buildings? My understanding is that you are the custodian of government buildings. Are ministers, ANC ministers in particular, living like rock stars?
No, thanks. I don't know what is the DA saying when they would say ANC ministers. Members of parliament are coming from different parties, and once parliament is constituted, it elects the president, who then appoint ministers. So these are ministers for the whole country. The system of residential estate or ministerial residence is not only confined for a political party, but for all ministers, but for premiers as well. And that's why also Premier Winde stays in the official government residence. So all ministers and all premiers have official residence. But this is not only ministers who are provided with these residences. Members of parliament, when they go to Cape Town for work, they reside in areas that are provided by parliament. These include your Acacia Park, a number of those areas that are provided by the parliament. Now, it is something else to say ministers are provided as if it's a special favor for a particular category. Yet, the principle that the DA should be raised is whether it is correct to have ministerial housing or not. And these ministerial residents are provided because most of the ministers will be coming from different areas. Now, it is not an issue of South Africa only. It is happening across the world. It does not start and end with ministers, but also members of parliament reside in the parliamentary villages.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what the DA is saying, but what we are trying as the department with regard to this is to look on how to provide residential facilities and safety and security, but in a less costly manner. And that's why there is a study on whether we should not dispose of some of these houses, get a smaller place where ministers will be able to stay, do their work. What add cost is that a house you will need maybe to have police and extra services. So is it not better to bring everyone together and look on whether that does not cut costs? And the study in that regard is being conducted by the department.
Let me ask this follow-up question, Minister, and that is that, are you aware of whether or not ministers do pay their utility bills, electricity, water, refuse removal?
Well, I would not want to venture into that part because I have said that they must give me a full report on that, on what services, because there are services that must be provided by the state to a certain extent, but then thereafter the ministers must pay. And for now, I have said, let us get a full report on that.
Yeah. All right. We'll give you that chance while you peruse the paperwork then. And then let's talk about your plans in this department. It's one of those that, and I'm sorry to characterize it this way, but it's always been seen as one of those departments that can easily be milked, and there is a mountain of reportage that has come to light around the Department of Public Works. What is at the top of your agenda in making sure that wastage is stopped right forthwith?
Yes, we are going to attend to that by building strong machinery within the department, but also ensure that we put in place proactive measures to ensure that whatever is done transparently and in an accountable way. Look even on the cost of services that are offered, because it is important that what we do, we account, and we account based on realistic figures when it comes to services that are offered. So we'll put in place mechanisms to deal with that. We are going to move also and be very strong on consequence management, because what deepens corruption is lack of consequence management. So we will also focus on that. But what is then the plan? The plan is to ensure that we build a strong department that will drive property and the development of all properties of government, ensure that they are properly managed, and ensure that we plan horizontally. Whether it is correct for us to continue leasing buildings instead of maybe working with the private sector to have a long-term plan where the private sector would maybe renovate, operate, and transfer later. Because the state must own properties. It's not correct for us to always depend on private sector in terms of offices. But also into doing work, we want to see South Africa becoming a construction site. And therefore, infrastructure development is going to constitute one of our key focal points. Lastly, you know that South Africa is affected by high level of unemployment. Yeah. And therefore, creation of job opportunities through EPWP and other programs also is on the top of our agenda.
Yeah, let me pick up on that infrastructure score, and I don't need to educate you on this one, the so-called construction mafia. You come from a province that has been beset with this challenge. How do you plan to deal with it? Because it is a matter that the president himself is on record as having said this has to come to a stop.
Yes, I think the government, and through the support of police, will have to crack down on this very challenging phenomenon. I think this mafia, or the construction mafia, need to be dealt with, and the police need to be very serious in tackling this problem. But more than that, as government, we would want to be clear on how to access the opportunities for economic emancipation, especially the 30% localization. That must be done accordingly. But what we are seeing is just criminality, and it must be dealt with as such.
Were you satisfied with how this matter was dealt with at the time that you were Premier in KZN? I don't remember. You'll forgive me maybe if you know of a case where a so-called leader of a construction mafia was arrested and is going through a court process.
Well, there are a number of cases that are in court. I'm sure those who are in the provincial government can account on that, or the minister can give clear statistics and the report minister says. But there's been work that has been done by the police in arresting these mafias in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. And a number of cases, some of those cases involve where government officials were attacked by some of these groupings.
And those groupings, Minister, and you forgive me for pressing on this because we have a situation in the country where people are looking for jobs, and then there are those that just come and claim a cut simply because there is a particular construction site, and that construction site is led by government. Some of these people, they have made these kinds of brazen attacks on these construction sites because they're saying that we come from the ANC and therefore we have a right. Are you able to confirm that for us, that some of them indeed do have their roots in the ANC?
No. Those are actions of criminals, and they should not be perceived in a political lens. Criminals are criminals and must be dealt with as such. If there is someone who comes from the political party, he must be dealt with according to what he has done. And it is wrong to go around and say they are coming from the ANC. Because the ANC has on several occasions condemned what they are doing. So it does not represent, they are not representing the ANC, irrespective of their background and irrespective of who they are. What they are doing is criminal and it needs to be dealt with.
All right, Minister, I can't let you go without discussing the work that you probably would have left still ongoing in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, owing to the floods that we saw in April of last year. How much work has gone into that, and where would your department fit into that picture? I know that Minister Delil was quite involved for some time. That's your predecessor now.
Yes, we are going to be involved and assist the province, partly in ensuring that they are supported with infrastructure, assist in ensuring that responsible department implement infrastructure repairs in all areas. I know that the Department of Transport is working on attending to all roads that were damaged and bridges, including the outstanding bridge that connects Tongat and Balito. I know that the Department of Transport is also finalizing the reconstruction of N2 from the south. So the work is ongoing. The department is also working on, our Department of Public Works is working on building bail bridges that are going to also assist, even in areas which had no bridges before. So we will work on the process and try to expedite interventions that need to be pursued in KwaZulu-Natal.
Minister of Public Works, Sihle Zikalala, sharing with us just some of his key priorities as he enters that department. We are going to follow his work and make sure that we catch up with him, I'm sure, at a later stage, I should say.